My husband and I have two teen daughters, Jenna and Tara. Tara was extremely sick, and we went through a living nightmare. For 2 years, I had to be in the hospital all the time, and my husband had to work 2 jobs to be able to pay for the hospital. So we decided that the best thing to do for Jenny would be to send her to live with my mother-in-law, who lives in another city. She's the only close family we have. We were trying to give Jenny a normal life. Otherwise, she'd spend all her time in a hospital like us. Now that Tara's better, things are a lot better, and we asked Jenny to come back home, and she was glad to do so. However, she only ever spends time with her dad, never with Tara or me, and she never says why she doesn't want to spend time with us. Not just that, she also actually bullies Tara any chance she gets. Last night, her dad convinced her to go out to dinner with me. So Tara and I got ready, and we waited for Jenny. She came out of her room and saw us there, turned to my husband, and said she had changed her mind and went back to her room. I followed her and asked what was wrong. She started screaming at me, asking me if I had to include Tara in everything. She accused me of not enjoying spending my time with her and bringing Tara so that I could spend time with Tara and pretend to like Jenny. I told her that this was not true and that I was just trying to have a girls' night with both of my daughters. But she screamed at me to get out and called me an idiot and other names. I called Jenny almost every day when she lived with her grandma, and I tried to be involved in her life as much as possible. Now she's trying to make sure Tara's neglected. Should I just do it? Tara was sick for 2 years. She's finally starting to have a normal life. Should I just neglect her like her dad? And what is the point, really? I love her. I know she's just a kid, but I expected her to be a bit more mature than this. I'm just so tired of everything. However, I will never give in to all of her demands and neglect Tara because of her, which is what my husband is doing. You are the idiot. You sent her away. You did. You put everything into one daughter, and the other was sent away without a thought. Now you expect her to be fine with you? With Tara? In her eyes, Tara's the main reason why she didn't get a family for 2 years. How often did you visit, spend time with Jenny when she was sent to a totally different city? The poor girl even had to switch schools for 2 years. You abandoned one daughter for the other and now expect her to just be happy to spend time with y'all? It doesn't work like that. Yeah, not just that she hasn't had her mother, but she was packed up and shipped off away from her family during a tumultuous time, and then sent for as if they were bringing a dog back from a kennel. Her family basically ditched her, and at the same time she had to deal with her sister possibly dying. But it's done now. Let's pretend it didn't happen, and we're all close, and nobody has any trauma. OP, you were in a difficult position with one kid in the hospital and wanted normalcy for your other daughter. However, Jenny felt abandoned and rejected, and you just prioritized Tara. Even if you did the best you could in that situation, those are valid feelings, and she needed her mom and dad too. Dad seems to understand her hurt and needs better. You don't, which is probably why she doesn't like to be around you. It could also be that you were the one in her eyes who sent her away. Regardless, therapy's needed. Honestly, if OP just acknowledged her pain and apologized, I guarantee things would be not better, but sort of. Jenny needs to have her hurt acknowledged, but OP says that Jenny wants Tara to be neglected. Is leaving Tara home while OP goes to dinner with Jenny neglecting her? But OP can send Jenny off to live with her grandmother for years, and that isn't? Remember, for a child's development, their child-parent relationship is so much more important than their sibling relationship. Start by rebuilding your relationship with Jenny, and I'll bet Jenny and Tara's relationship will fall into place. Tara got 2 years of uninterrupted one-on-one time, while Jenny got uprooted, twice. Tara got emotional support from you during that difficult time. Jenny got shipped to grandma's. Now you need to do some healing with Jenny. OP, I hope you let down your defenses enough to really take this in. Your relationship with Jenny depends on it. My daughter, 23, brought her girlfriend, 25, to stay in her house for a few days. It wasn't the first time I, 56 female, met her girlfriend, but it was the first time we knew she was serious about this girl. They went on to stay in a room that I can safely say usually is my workspace with a spare bed. We moved houses after our kids moved, so our daughter didn't really have a room in this new house. In the morning, I noticed that I had left my tablet stylus pen in their room, and I needed to get on with my work. So I thought I'd wait for them to get up and then I'll get it. I waited an hour and they didn't wake up. So I entered their room, retrieved the pen, walked out, and closed the door. I didn't want to wake them up because they had come a long way on a long flight. My daughter later confronted me about it and said she was extremely uncomfortable with what had happened. She said it was inappropriate for me to go in. I was like, sure, but nothing bad happened. It wasn't a big deal. She was mad and said what if they weren't wearing something appropriate, and insisted that this was an invasion of her privacy. I told her that was not the case. It really wasn't. I didn't even look but noticed that they were only cuddling and asleep. So nothing was inappropriate in that sense. My daughter left much earlier than planned and demanded an apology before ever coming to visit again. I don't think I did something crazy. It was just a second. Does this make me an idiot? She insisted that this was an invasion of her privacy. I told her that was not the case. Oh, it really was. I'm guessing your history of dismissing her feelings is one reason she's angry, and that's probably why she now lives a long flight away. You are the idiot. OP, this could have been such a nothing burger if only you just said, whoops, didn't think about it that way. Sorry, honey. I'll be more cognizant moving forward. Your daughter didn't leave early because you were in there for just a second. She left early because you dismissed her when she told you she was uncomfortable with it. I don't think it's a leap to think this might be a pattern your daughter's run out of patience for. So you didn't knock and didn't look, but you noticed they were cuddling? So you did indeed look. When you have guests over, you knock and wait for approval before entering their room. I don't care if it's your house. They deserve privacy while in a room, especially while sleeping. It's not important that it's your office. At the moment, it's their bedroom. She's 23 for God's sake, not 3. Would you like it if hotel staff just walked in to check on the fridge or TV? You gave that room to your daughter, and you should respect boundaries. You desperately needed a stylus for your tablet? Desperately? And it couldn't wait? Was it a stylus emergency? Sure, at least come up with a better lie. You didn't just walk in on your daughter, but also on a sleeping adult to whom you're a stranger. It was wildly inappropriate. You could have waited or knocked. In her shoes, I would never come to visit again either. Certainly not overnight. For about a year, I've been dating a woman with 2 children. She gets alimony and child support. Right before the global issue made everything go crazy, I bought myself a brand new car. It isn't anything fancy, but it's the most expensive thing I've ever purchased, besides my home. 2 months ago, my girlfriend's car gave up the ghost. She can't find a car that she likes and is in her price range. Even used cars are going for insane prices. My car has 24,000 miles on it, and I could probably get what I paid for it if I sold it. So I've been helping her by taking her for groceries and other errands. A few times now, she's asked if she could borrow my car to trade custody of the kids. I agreed and asked her to not let her kids eat in my car. I'm very particular about my car. For example, it has heated and vented leather seats. I don't want a drink spilled on them. I don't want sticky fingerprints on my stuff. She agreed to my request but didn't follow through. I found food in the car. There was other evidence that my request had not been followed, so I told her I couldn't lend her my car anymore. I signed her up for a car share service that I pay for so that she can use that to shuttle the kids around. I made sure she knew that if I got a cleaning charge after she used it, I would cancel it. She says I'm being a controlling idiot about my car. I don't think I am. I don't go to her home and leave a mess. It's not weird to want to have nice things remain nice. Her kids are mostly well behaved, and we get along. They've been in my car with me, and they manage not to make a mess. They've been in my home and on my furniture. The same thing. No mess. Coasters aren't alien to them or anything. Edit. My girlfriend's ex was very controlling with money and other parts of their marriage. She has a lot of issues stemming from that relationship. Not the idiot. No food in the car is an extremely common rule and extremely easy to follow. Not only did they eat in it, but they also left food in it. My girlfriend's ex was very controlling with money, so he didn't allow her to exploit him and set some boundaries, just like you do. You aren't controlling. You made a request, and she accepted and didn't follow through. Also, OP, you're being too generous by paying for the car share service. She gets alimony and child support, so tell her to use it. You took her to buy groceries, lent her your car, and made a simple request that could have easily been followed through. You're being too nice, and I wish you would be careful so she doesn't take advantage of your good nature. Agree. I don't know how I could ever look at someone the same again who called me a controlling idiot about something I bought and let them use after they blatantly disregarded the conditions under which I lent it. Controlling would be withholding the car to prevent her from going somewhere, not paying for an alternative service instead. I couldn't be with someone who lacks respect for me and a total sense of entitlement, even for one instance, especially if they don't acknowledge or apologize for it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Her husband escaped, and here you are, signing up to cater to her single mom with 2 kids, thinking she's a princess. Is she the last woman on earth to date? Good luck, bro. To set the scene here, I'm a 55-year-old father of 4 and grandfather of 5. The pertinent ones here are my eldest daughter, Michelle, who's 34, her husband, Peter, who's 35, and my grandchildren, Beth and Sam, who are a tween and a young teen. To give some context to the rest of this post, Beth and Sam are adopted and are Black, whereas the rest of the family is white. The problem arose when Michelle and Peter finally saved up enough money to take their dream honeymoon, which they couldn't afford when they married. It was a month-long holiday, during which time Beth and Sam came to stay with me. Beth has beautiful curly hair and lots of it, which she obviously washes and maintains herself, but she's still learning how to do certain styles. I asked out of curiosity what kind of style she'd like to have, and she showed me some pictures of ladies online with very impressive braids. Now, I've been bald as an egg since I was 40, and the only style I had before was a mohawk in my 20s. So elaborate braids are a bit beyond my skill set, but a coworker of mine who's my work daughter often has her hair done in styles very similar to the ones Beth showed me. So I asked her where she gets her hair done and explained it was for my granddaughter, and she told me that it's actually her sister who's a professional braider and put me in touch with her. So I took Beth to her sister, and she got some very cool braids with beads and a little heart pattern at the sides, and the sister explained all the upkeep stuff to us and even gave us the friend and family discount, which was very nice. Well, cut to Michelle's return, and she's deeply unhappy about me doing this. Apparently, she's always told Beth no to getting such braiding done because she believes that she's too young for it, and also because she says it's expensive and doesn't want Beth to get the idea that it's going to be an all-the-time thing. I've said I'm quite happy to pay for her to get it done as often as she likes because of how happy it made her, but Michelle is still huffy with me about it. Peter's siding with her as he says parents should be consulted about such things. But on the other hand, Sam is sticking up for me by saying that it's nice that I'm letting Beth partake in parts of the Black culture she might miss out on in a white family, which wasn't even really an aspect I'd considered, honestly. I obviously am not happy that my daughter's unhappy, but I'm not sure if I really did anything wrong here. Help an old man out. Not the idiot, and you're adorable. But even though you're not the idiot, you have created a problem for your granddaughter. If her parents don't want to facilitate the further upkeep of the braids, they'll probably have to come out. Maybe mom has some points about cost and labor, so you may have to explain to your granddaughter that you didn't think this all the way through and that you learned something valuable here. The mom was offered by OP that he'd cover the cost. The mom is doing a disservice, and if she continues to find excuses not to help her daughter keep her hair healthy, which the mom could learn with the daughter and have as a bonding moment, she'll ultimately show her daughter passively harmful views. She adopted kids willingly, one with different needs, and is unwilling to learn to maintain that, which is not very good parenting. Agree. It sounds like the mom has never researched Black hair care. I'm not even going to touch on the mom's weird claim that the child is too young for a hairstyle that's a staple of most Black girls' childhood. Honestly, I have the uncomfortable feeling that Michelle didn't want her daughter to look too Black or something. If I'm correct, that's awful. It makes her seem insecure. Yep, sometimes white adoptive mothers of Black children can get a little put out, possessive, and even jealous when the children start connecting with other Black people or learning about aspects of their own Black cultures. If this is what Michelle is doing, even if she denies it, you need to tell her to calm down. Beth isn't being taken away from her. She's just learning about her hair. I would continue to pay for the braiding so that Michelle doesn't have an excuse to pull Beth away from what could be a source of connection for her. I, 34 female, am throwing a Super Bowl party at my house for my extended family today. My mother-in-law and my brother-in-law and his children were carpooling to my house. I told them our party was going to start at 6. This morning I texted them to ask when they would be here by. They didn't respond the whole day, and they just came over at 5 p.m. unannounced. I refused to let them in since I wasn't ready, and they weren't invited then. My mother-in-law demanded to be let in and argued that it was cold out. It wasn't that cold. It was 45 degrees. I told them my house, my rules, and that they should go out and get something to eat and come back in an hour. When they refused, my husband and I said I would call the police if they wouldn't leave willingly. My brother-in-law left in a huff. When 6 rolled around, they didn't come back, and my brother-in-law just left a snarky message saying that they'd watch the Super Bowl at his house instead. Now my extended family won't speak to me. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Firstly, 45 degrees is cold. Secondly, yes, they arrived a little early, but you were anticipating company and it was your family. I can see being annoyed by the inconvenience, but to refuse to let them in and threaten to call the cops unless they leave and come back an hour later is wild. It's actually very rude to show up early when people are preparing to entertain, and an hour in advance is not a little early. That said, telling them to wait an hour in the cold and then escalating to talking about calling the police was too much. I would have let them in and put them all to work in the kitchen. OP, good news. You probably won't need to worry about hosting any more pesky Super Bowl parties. Bad news, you are the idiot. Was this the hill to die on? Is there a huge backstory of toxic behavior that you're not sharing? Enjoy your house rules. Seriously? I can't imagine telling my mom, you came early, you can't come in, and I will call the police if you don't leave. This is either a last straw outburst, in which case background info would have been helpful, or a severe overreaction. It's rude not to RSVP, and it is tacky to show up early to a party. It's also rude and tacky to tell your guest and family to go get something to eat. Were you not planning to serve food? From behind a closed door with them out in the elements. Surely there's something you aren't telling us. Something that would make this make sense. Why would you invite them and then not let them in when they show up an hour early? Just what would it have harmed to let them in? This is not an upper crust Victorian event. It's a game. They could have sat on the couch and been out of the way, but warm. So pretentious.